All right, so Shayini, welcome back.
Thank you, Steve, for having me.
You've come back from your holidays. You've spent a lot of time focusing on finishing a PhD. Now that's
Yes.
out of the way. How does it feel?
Weight off the shoulder, honestly. Like I feel like I have more time than I ever knew I had. So it's great. Yeah.
Wow, awesome. So we've got Shayini and her partner Ash here from Conyfer, who are our exclusive music distribution partners. We've been working with Conyfer for a couple of years now, and we're really just formalizing a lot of our relationship and getting it off the ground. So we thought the best way to kind of spark that and reestablish that is having you on the show. And we want to have you on as a regular guest to really dive deep into the common issues of music distribution, anything digital, marketing, mechanical, publishing. And I'm sure there are a lot of problems that you're encountering for your artists. Yeah, you can look them up on the show notes at conifer.com and learn more about them. And we'll talk more about how you can become involved in their distribution platform at the end of the show. So,
Yeah.
Shayini, why don't you just start with telling everyone the story of Conyfer and how it came to be?
It's my favorite story. So, Conifer really was born for the artist because we were managing some artists who were emerging and also established. The common issue that most of them had was around navigating the platforms that they use to distribute their music. Frankly, there are so many options out there. You can just go on Google today and ask best distribution platforms and you'd get a top 10 list. But really, to understand the quality of each of those platforms and to understand whether they suit your needs, the only way to find that out is by using it. And unfortunately for musicians, using it means creating their music, which is a lot of effort to do, and then using a certain platform to distribute it. And it's a big risk that they take every time they test a platform. They are giving their art out there through a certain platform, and maybe they may not get the return ever. Sometimes it's even hard to remove what they've put out there because the platform holds it for X amount of time, or if you have to remove it, you have to pay fees, etc.
Yeah.
Anyway, I worked with a couple of artists one-to-one, more as their manager, and I have used several of the top 10 distribution companies that you would see if you search it now. And each one of them showed me that they care more about themselves as a business than they care about the artists that use them. This is mostly because they are focused on the volume of artists that they attract rather than the quality of services that they provide. But without the smaller independent artists, their business model wouldn't work because the number of big artists that they would have on their platform is limited.
Yeah.
So Conyfer was born out of that gap. We wanted to bring a distribution platform that was exclusively designed for independent artists. And our strength, whether you ask our tech team or an artist that we work with or partners that we work with, is the fact that we empower the artists that work with us. We work extremely close with them, and it is such an individualized plan that we provide to them that when the artists stay with us, they don't just stay with us because they're making money or they're getting an X number of streams. They stay with us because they like to work with us. It's just the companionship and the friendship and the partnership that we offer them every time they bring us a project. And they don't have to bring all the projects to us. It could be just one project that they're bringing to us, but that one project we give 100%. So really, to answer your question, Conyfer was in fact made for the artist, and my partner Ash, he is an artist, and so every time we design a contract or a deal or speak to someone who is just coming into the music scene, we keep that in mind. We know what it means to be an independent artist. We know their pain points. we know what they really want, and we just want to give them the services that would empower them.
Right. Okay. So one of the things that you really push out in terms of your marketing, and it's all over your website, is, artists taking back control.
Yes.
Like, for those listening, and this is really geared now, I guess this conversation is mostly geared to the aspiring and emerging artist that's maybe had a couple of releases, maybe they've had, a few releases, and they're not happy with their current provider. They're not getting the support. They're logging an email 3 weeks later or a month later, they come back with a ticket and it's like, half, not even quarterly resolved.
Yeah.
So this is the type of audience that we're really speaking to, I guess, at this stage and this point in this conversation. What would you say that Conyfer does that other distributors don't in that initial process?
Yeah, so basically with other artists, if you're talking about emerging artists, and these are usually the smaller artists with just numbers that are starting to show some sort of fandom and attraction. Now, when they use bigger service providers, it's often attractive, and you'd say, well, I see platforms like DistroKid or Ditto, for example, everywhere. But if you compare Conyfer, the marketing isn't as big as DistroKid, for example. That's because we're not emphasizing on getting all the 500,000 independent artists that are out there. So when a smaller artist joins us, they may come to us through a close contact that we already have, or a friend that has used our platform. So the first point of contact that they would actually have with is either me or Ash, who are the founders and the co-founders of the company, or our actual support team, which is made of 3 other people. So it's not like, we have 100 plus employees and we don't talk to each other. So when they come to us, we will tell them, okay, what kind of music are you releasing? Are they originals? Are you doing remixes? So we can actually educate you from point one that this is what you can do with the music that you're about to put out, and this is what you can't do. And I'll explain a minute what that means. Because if you are an independent artist, and now with this AI era, surely you might have heard of Suno AI. Fantastic.
I want to go deep into that a bit later.
Fantastic platform. But that's AI generated music. While you can use AI generated samples and all that to get inspiration to create your own music, taking an exact thing that Suno spits out and distributing it is a completely different thing to do, and you can't get ownership of that music. I'll get deeper into it. So what I'm trying to get at is, we talked about tickets. But before we even get into getting tickets, because they're solving a problem that they may have faced later on post-distribution, we try to educate them before we even give access to our platform. Okay. We tell them, look, your music needs to be original. And if it's not original, then you need to distribute it. There is a way to distribute it, but you need to just acknowledge the fact that it's a cover. And that will save you a lot of time. You won't have issues. And let's say they go beyond that and still make an error because they don't know, it could be just a matter of not knowing, then that's fine, because once you put it on the platform, if there is any issues with your release that's scheduled to be released, you can actually see it transparently on our dashboard. On their dashboard, they have access to it. And so they can be informed throughout the process of whether a release is going to be successful, whether it has been delivered to all the platforms. And hey, if they have questions from today till the release date, they can always contact us and we can keep them informed on what is working for them, what might be an issue for them. So they have a close contact with the real people behind building the tech and having that distribution or their content distributed. So they are not going through bots or random ticket systems or automated messages. for them to have to wait another 3 weeks after their song's released on some random person's profile to figure out, damn, where is my music? I spent so much time and effort to put this together with so much expectations, because oftentimes we see independent artists, because they don't have big marketing budgets like Taylor Swift or Charlie Puth, what they do is they actually share it among their close friends and families and build an anticipation within their close-knit fan base.
Right.
To put a song out. And after building all that anticipation, if their song doesn't come out on the right time, it is a major letdown for these artists, because they don't have the backup support from a big label or a big marketing budget to say, fuck it, that's messed up. I'm going to try again through marketing. They have done the marketing themselves on frontline. So it's quite important that they have someone real to talk to in real time, so they can fix the issues as soon as their release comes out, or even before the release comes out, before they get a letdown.
Yeah. It sounds like that's a real common issue for a lot of artists, because the typical strategy is, setting a release party or an event date, whether it's just purely, online or trying to coincide with your actual event, and, preparing for this one kind of wedding day, right? Where you've spent so much time, money and resources to make sure it all lines up and it's like, bang, it works. Is a lot of pressure. And we've seen it firsthand with our artists that we've released over the years. All right. So look, back to the platform. So I had a play with it late last year. We migrated a lot of our artists, probably 20 or 30 or close to 40 artists on there. And it was a pretty straightforward process once you know where everything is. And someone that's, I would say half decent in technical knowledge and expertise, even though I had a few questions. And, you guys were very responsive and guided me through the process. And once I had, I think, 2 or 3 uploaded, I was like, yep, copy, paste, repeat. So it's pretty straightforward, and you're very, very supportive in that. And that's the kind of, service that we would love as artists, as partners who are working together. And that's one of the reasons why we decided to work with you guys exclusively, because we had artists on these legacy platforms. The one, I won't name names, but one of our artists had, I think, 500,000 streams on one of her songs, and it had to get taken down because it was flagged by artificial streaming when they claimed it actually wasn't. And for whatever reason, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't, had to start again. And clearly has other songs that have actually got more streams than that as well. So that was a big upset, and we realized, okay, this is a common growing issue with, especially with AI flagging and all that stuff happening. So what do you see happening now, like in the way that market's shifting? Like, you've got some artists across the globe. I think you got some straight closer connections with Spotify in Sri Lanka as well. Actually, before we go into the artists and some of the case studies, tell us about the network that Conyfer is currently established with.
So we started, our initial artists were mostly exclusively in the South Asian community, which was our easiest region to work with because we come from that background and we had more connections there. But since then, like this, I'm talking about 4 years ago, since then we have expanded significantly, and now our artists are based in various regions, but we have a lot of artists from Malaysia, Singapore, India, Sri Lanka, they're still there, but also Italy, UK, Germany, and China has been an emerging country that we have been working with. And I don't know how I forgot this, but also Nigeria.
Right.
So a lot of artists from Nigeria, labels, A&Rs that work with us. And I think by working with different regions and different types of artists and different types of art that they bring, I think it has expanded our way of working as well. So we realize that obviously just a two people team is not good enough to cater all this diverse set of artists. So we work more locally within their country, finding A&Rs within their country who will be culturally informed about those artists and the art that they come to us with. So if we are working with a particular artist, not a label but an artist, then we make sure that they are paired with a local A&R that works with us, so that if their release is coming through, they can be supported by this staff member locally, and then they don't have to wait for us, some person from Australia, to reply to them. This will be someone in Nigeria, for example, who would talk to them at their time zone, knowing how they work, and give them that kind of support within their local region.
Yep.
And also, like, different countries have different platforms that they prioritize. So some countries are big on Apple Music, some countries are big on Boomplay, for example. So by working with local staff, we can understand what the local need is and try and connect with that local platform. So if Spotify is big in your region, then we'll try and connect with Spotify for that particular release. If it's Boomplay, then we'll try and connect with Boomplay for that particular region. And this has helped us support artists more on an individualized, holistic aspect, rather than, come in, distribute, goodbye.
Yeah. Okay, great. So you're working with the A&R reps. Obviously, you've got some connections with the labels that the artists are signed to as well.
Yeah.
Let's talk about playlisting and pitching for playlists, because that's still, I think, a big thing. Is it? Big thing, yeah.
I think it has calmed down a little compared to what it was, I guess, two years ago. Because now you open Spotify, the whole interface of the app has changed drastically, right?
Yeah.
So previously it was very playlist oriented, whereas now there are other things that you can do to make your release stand out that is beyond the playlist. First of all, of course, the quality of your production matters. And when you even pitch, and now artists can obviously pitch, and this has been a feature that they've had forever, where if you have Spotify for Artists as a you have a profile, then you can pitch your music before it's released, and the pitching form opens 7 days before a release is actually out, and you can specifically pitch in Spotify for your song or album. And in that, if you've used special production features, Dolby Atoms, for example, you can actually mention that, and you can tell the story of your release, which gives more information to the curators than getting a random service online to pitch your song, which wouldn't have that kind of information.
Okay, this is important because now artists are, and I'm seeing that shift, especially with Spotify, and they're giving remix access, and take a cover and remix it. And,
yes.
So they're given the control a little bit more to empower the user, which may not be an artist, but gives them the creative tools to do that. So as this sort of becomes more of a focus, how do you see the artist, back to the artist, how do you see their focus changing? Because if they're pitching now to these curators and they're being asked questions like, what's the story and what's the narrative and what's, the genre and the kind of audience, all these questions you would expect to understand as an artist. What does that mean for the artist now, that they, need to understand these things, or do they need to rely on someone else to kind of guide them through that process? What are you finding?
I think it's important now, and this is a shift in the industry generally, whether you're an emerging artist or an established one, is now the focus is more to focus on your art. And by art, I mean the entirety of it, not just the music or the lyrics that you write, but the whole process. And it's a very personalized journey that even established artists are now coming with. So I can name Taylor Swift or Ariana Grande. They have all now shifted away. They're still part of big labels, but they have the rights to their content now,
Right.
which wasn't the case before.
Right.
This was the case only for independent emerging artists previously, but now even established artists are moving towards owning their content. And it sounds very technical to say, what does it mean to own your content? Isn't it mine? It's not. It's not yours if you are part of a label. The label usually owns the content.
Right.
But now it has shifted where you own your copyrights
Right.
and all of your rights. The label will take a share
Right.
of the revenue that you generate from those content.
Mhm.
So tomorrow, if you wish to move to a different label, you are allowed to do that, and you're allowed to move your content with you.
Right.
If you wish to take down a particular content because it no longer aligns with your artistry, you're allowed to do that because it's your content. Whereas previously that wasn't the case. So to answer your question, I think artists now, as much as they need to know about music and the genre and all that, they also need to be more artistic about the work that they put through and create an aesthetic around them. Who are you as an artist? Why does this art matter to you? What's the inspiration? What's the story for this? But so don't just go to generic, sex, money, drug. If you're a rap, like
Shiny
great,
stuff,
fantastic. If that's what matters to you, then make a story out of it.
Yeah.
If not, if you're going to be unique, the more unique you are, the more you are attractive to the curators or to the platforms or to the labels or even to your fans. Because if it's just a common narrative, then how much can you connect with that person who wants to hear you, right? So yeah, I would suggest for the artists to stay on trend these days, and the trend is to be all in about your art. The more you showcase your art, the more you showcase the aesthetic of every album or every release that you're putting through. Create multiple content. Content creation has become so easy these days with AI, right? So you can, bloody hell, if you don't have inspiration, go have a chat with the ChatGPT or every other AI platform or chatbot that's there and ask, hey, this is the sort of song lyrics I've got. What's an inspiration that I can get? What's the aesthetic that I can choose to showcase my work? And that will give you some suggestions, and then it's up to you what you pick. So once you stick to an aesthetic, then it's easy to build a narrative around it. And by the time it's time for you to pitch your song to a curator, potential curator or a label or whatever, you have a narrative already established and you can show the engagement that you've had with that narrative.
Let's go deep into that. This is where we kind of sort of come into the equation, and one of the main reasons why we figured this would be a really beneficial relationship. So as you know, we run a program. I actually run one program called Unleash the Artist.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, it's 14 weeks where I help them develop the whole architecture behind their brand, their story, the narrative, position them as the hero in their own rise.
Yes.
With their origin story. And everyone has a story. It's just a question of going through a process, I find, and then identifying some of the core beliefs that you've built over that time and now your music represents.
Yes.
Because the brain is made up to three things. You've got your beliefs, your story, and your big promise. So these things often artists don't understand until I kind of show them. There's actually elements you have to identify and architect before ChatGPT, and like Claude, for example, will actually ask you these questions now. Like, what is your, what is it? If you're asking Claude, for example, give me some aesthetics on hip hop, and this is my music, and this might be the chorus. Great. Well, before I do that,
Yes.
Mr. Artist or Mrs. Artist, I need to know, what are your core values? What are your beliefs? What do you stand for? It's like, oh, interesting. So this is where I've found that running this program has been really beneficial because it helps them actually reflect on who they are as an artist and how they need to show up.
Yeah.
And so once they've understood those basics, it's like, great, now I have a framework to actually amplify who I am and not have to seek outside validation anymore. And that's the trap. I think this is the trap. We've been so stuck into this external, I call it shiny stuff. And it's like, I've got great production. I've got awesome video. I've worked with this big producer, and I call them pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And I've got a really good algorithm, and I've got a really good, this, and I've got everything, and I can perform, and I've got talent. The problem is these pieces are all kind of scattered,
Yeah.
and they don't know how to present it in a narrative.
Yeah.
And so I sort of guide them through a process where we can put them in their own picture frame and go, in at least a few words, understand the architecture of who you are as an artist and why it's so important. And if you haven't figured that out, you're always going to be seeking outside validation for others to figure that out. So it's nothing that someone else can do.
Yeah.
And so I've found that that's been the most value that I think we can bring artists as an artist development company, and especially through this program, to help them get to a point where they've got that architecture, they can put it into a live act. And if they can put it into a live act and demonstrate who they are on stage in 90 minutes or half an hour, then they've got the model to then express that in multiple forms online through any digital means.
Yeah.
So based on that, what do you see the artists, well, first of all, would you agree that this is where artists fall short based on those that haven't maybe worked with bigger companies or marketing companies? And do they sort of go into this kind of rabbit hole thinking that streaming and platforms are going to give them the answer that they're looking for? Is this something you're noticing?
Yeah, for sure. And you're absolutely right. I think what an artist fails to understand, the emerging ones, is they don't realize that they are indeed the product. It is them that everyone cares about. You could make fantastic music, and we've seen those trends happen even with big established artists. There could be great music out there, but if they have some sort of personal downfall, people will start to judge their music along with them. And the reason I say this is there needs to be a level of character building before you can emerge as an artist. And I think it's that phase that schools like yours, Music Valley, comes in as a very important factor. Because yes, you can have talent and you can create music, which is a natural gift that you have, because not everybody can do that, but some people are naturally gifted to do that.
Right.
But to be able to showcase that gift in the right way, in the right avenue, at the right timing, you need some character building. You need to not just get inspired by your favorite artist or by your favorite genre, but also understand why is it inspiring to you. Because that why is what will create your persona, and that persona is what will attract the fans. So regardless of what happens in your personal life, the fans will see that persona that now you've created. It could be a caricature of yourself. It doesn't have to be you. I'm not saying open your inner personal private life to your fans. I mean, some choose to do that, but you should be smart. It's a business. You're the product. You're displaying a product. And if you're a fan of Mackey's, it's probably because you've seen their ads and how they are showcasing themselves as kid-friendly and being a space. So it's just a product that you are.
So when you talk about product, and this is the thing that I try to explain a lot to artists, the first time they try to understand this architecture, and I say we're building a dream home as a product, for example.
Yes.
You're the dream home.
Yes.
You can't just put together bricks and mortar and paint and expect the whole thing to kind of come together. You need to design and architect it on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
That's why architecture exists in design. And then you get professionals to sign off and say, yep, the structure works. It can be produced.
Yeah.
It will work. It will serve the market.
Yeah.
Because they look at the plan and don't bypass this important process. So this architecture and character building, let's just go deep into this, because I think a lot of people listening to this will relate to and understand the shows like The Voice,
Yes.
Australia's Got Talent, all this and everyone knows there's always a narrative and a story.
Yeah.
And it's whether they lost someone close to them, and that's where stories are, in fact, part of the marketing that build the product.
Sure.
So in the artists that you've worked with, like if you can sort of, focus on some of the key artists that have really, either started young or, have sort of risen to at a higher level than say others have, would you agree or would you, disagree that having the story and narrative figured out is one of the most important things that they can work through in this character building phase of their journey?
Yeah, I've seen both examples.
Right.
Those who didn't have a character built, great talent, great opportunities that came their way thanks to their talent.
Yep.
And because they didn't build clear narrative about who they are, they still struggle to connect with their art and their artists. They can still produce, and they're very flexible. They can produce different types of music, and they're so flexible that they can do different genres, but they struggle to find their niche that is passionate for them, where they
Right.
will be like, yeah, this is my vibe, this is my music, I enjoy doing this. And the catch for those kinds of artists who don't have a narrative and are still struggling is oftentimes their measure of success is based on external validation.
Right.
And you touched on this before. When you don't have a clear narrative of who you are as an artist, really your measure of success is, have I been playlisted? Has my song reached 100 million streams? Is everyone talking about it? Is it played in the local radio? Is it not? Then I'm not a good artist. But that is not possible realistically, to have all of your music, anything you release, to be 100% success. Right? Some might work, some might not work. It's just normal. It's absolutely normal. Even your favorite artist, I mean, if you said to me, my favorite artist, I like every single music that they've released equally, you're lying. It can't be, right? Some you connect more, some you don't. But what matters is once you have a narrative about you, you still create music, you'd still care about the streams and the external validation. I mean, that's what makes you an artist, right? You like the spotlight. But that is not your sole focus, so you won't care so much about being playlisted or being on the billboard of every major streaming platform. What you'd care is connecting, has this music reached to the fans that I created this for? And if it does, then that is a success. Let me make more. What else can I do with this piece of art that I've put there to connect more with this fan base and make the most out of the story that I'm trying to deliver?
So the key word there is really connection. And one of the ways that I try to dial this down and make it really pragmatic for artists is impact.
Yeah.
So how do we measure impact? I say, well, one, the reactions of people. You know, and this is where all the metrics come through. So engagement rates, comments, download streams. But fundamentally, if we don't know what connects with people, you're never going to be, you're going to be looking at those metrics, and, we call them vanity metrics, wondering, scratching your head why people aren't streaming. Is because you haven't actually established what connects and tested that. And this is why I spent, better part of 17 years developing and condensing a series of trainings and insights and research and putting it all into these 14 weeks. And we go through and role play out the impact that your narrative makes on the group. I work with a small group of artists, usually 7, maybe 12 in a group, and we kind of workshop. It's really live. It's, everyone's sharing. We do go open up into the personal stories. We don't have to name names, but we want that because your favorite artist inspired you at a podcast, interview, or they heard a story of, say, Lady Gaga being bullied, and all of a sudden she's called a monster, and then she writes an album, Monster, and it's a hit.
Yeah.
Because she's learned to kind of own herself and then turn those diamonds, create diamonds in the rough from who she is and what she's experienced. So you're right, it is an actual character building process. And I've found that there's a lot of personal development, there's belief as well. This is where kind of mentors and guides really come in and give you the actual permission to go, it's okay to share that you had a death and rebirth moment or a Batman or a Superwoman moment. Because guess what? The person off The Voice that just won, what's so inspiring about them? Oh, they went from like nothing to, push through every single. I see it. So they're really starting to make these connections that it's actually about opening up, being really honest with yourself. It's not a sympathy vote.
No.
And that's also where like artists be like, I don't want to, bombard people with my pain and struggles. I'm like, no. It's the silver lining. It's the rise up. And I give them plenty of examples of all the Hollywood stories of, the artists, going through their own personal journeys and kind of coming back and rising up. So why don't we craft a beautiful narrative, using things like the hero's journey, which is, modeled in all the movies and great artists you've heard. I'm like, okay. And through the process, they really start to actually see
Yeah.
that picture frame
Yeah.
that they see in others.
Yeah.
And it's like this little reel,
Yeah.
I call it a reel, emotion narrative of the artist. And I go, that's exactly what you need to install, firstly in your own mind, and then everything you do is about anchoring back to that arc, that story arc.
Yes.
Because people think in terms of stories and images, not in terms of numbers and two-dimensional posts that they see. So in order for someone to actually build a relationship with you and for connect, they need to have a story that plays out in their mind that you have crafted and designed, that they start to build a relationship with.
Yeah.
And they see themselves through that story. It's a vicarious kind of relationship that they have.
Yes.
It's like, oh yeah, that's what I have with these artists. I'm like, okay, great. And finally, it takes them a little while to really understand that, but once they come out on the other side and start sharing it with the group, they realize the impact that they make.
Yeah.
And people, give each other and score each other on that metric and say, in terms of impact, where were you before? Now what kind of impact are you making on a scale of 1 to 10? It's like, it's increased 100%.
Yeah.
Because I now know who you are.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we've got it. So that's the part that I think a lot of artists are failing to understand. And this is, kind of nothing cosmetic. It's nothing in terms of the production or the build of the house. It happens prior to the architectural product development, which is synonymous with artist development.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I found that that's where most of the work happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just back to the artists that you've worked with, like, have you had to have these conversations with artists often, or is this something that just kind of, like, who usually has these conversations with artists?
Usually, they are supposed to have this kind of conversations with their artist manager, whoever's managing them. But obviously, an independent artist doesn't always have a manager because they're independent. That's what makes them independent. But when the ones that work with us, we often encourage them to work with us before a release, not just bring a release and say, hey, can you pitch this? No, I can't because I don't know who you are. Like, what's your story? Like, what am I pitching really?
Right.
They expect us to do the job. Like, basically, listen to my music, see what connects with you, and pitch it.
Work out my brand and my story. No,
I can't do that for you. Right. I wasn't the one who created this, so I don't have the passion for it. So what we do instead is when an artist comes to us, we always ask them, what's the story? Do you want to talk about it? And it's always a conversation, right? Just a conversation. Reflect on this. And it's so beautiful. We're humans. We love stories. I love stories. I love anyone's stories, and I'm very chatty about it. And we all love stories. And that's why influencing is such a big thing now in social media. You're following this random person drinking coffee and walking around Melbourne, and you're like, wow, I want to follow them because they're showing a story of their life. Now imagine that an artist doing it with in artistic ways, showing your story. And it could be some basic thing. You're waking up in the morning, but your waking up is different to my waking up. So showcase that. Be artistic about it. So when we work with artists in Conyfer, bringing back to that, we when they are releasing, whether it's a single or an album, I usually do this work. It's my role within Conyfer to speak to them about their emotions that is associated with that particular release. What inspired you to do this? Was it just an idea that you came up with when you were having a drink with your friend, or did something really happen to you? And I really tap into their emotions and then see how we can showcase that in a responsible way through marketing prior to their release. So not really putting their personal life out there. That's why I use the word responsible, because that's an important thing as well. Because sometimes artist managers, even those who have managers, they want to make a big hype and they showcase everything about the artist. And that's like walking naked in front of a group of people, and nobody wants that, right? Doesn't matter how much you earn from that. So I try to work with the artist, and I have a small team, a marketing team with me, so it's not all me. But once we have that initial conversations, we brainstorm a couple of content ideas for the artist. Do we want to do a series of interviews or a series of perhaps vlogs that you want to do, that you're comfortable showing? And then how can we build that narrative leading up to the release? And once you are ready for the release, then that's when you showcase your actual product, put out a small snippet of the song or of the album or the behind the scenes that you've recorded. And from there, we then see the engagement. So every post gives us a data. How many likes, how many shares, how many comments, what are the comments, positive, negatives, they're all good data. Even if you have bad comments, great. That means that next time we're not going to post the same kind of content. So we collect that data, and based on that data, we then keep refining the narrative until it completely makes that impact that you talked about.
Right.
So it's really important for an independent artist either to work with someone responsible, like a team at Conyfer, or they can find their own local team, or it's important that they work with people like you, where they have done that homework before they come with a product. They know what it means to build a narrative, make an impact, build character before you showcase your work. But not everybody is fortunate enough to have that opportunity. And I guess that's what this podcast or this kind of work that we're doing together is trying to establish, provide that opportunity to all the emerging artists and even established ones, so that they can learn and be educated on what it means to be an artist. And it's not just the art that makes the artist, it's the story that they bring with them.
One of the things we want to share with the people listening to this episode is there's going to be 2 links that I'm going to put into the show notes, 3 actually, maybe a couple more. But I'll put a link to a presentation you guys did that really exposes everything on Conyfer.
Yeah.
We've got it on YouTube, and also a bit of a walkthrough on the platform provided by Ash.
Yeah.
If someone is out there, they're like, all right, I need hands-on, I need guidance, I need to navigate. It's been like a needle in a haystack. Maybe your music's been flagged by AI and it's not going nowhere. One of the ways that we can get them started is by also having a conversation like this. And the first step for them would be to apply on your website at conyfer.com. And make sure you use the code Music Valley when applying. And that will prioritize them to book a call with your team.
Yep.
So I just want to walk us through what will happen during that call and what can they expect from that point on.
Sure. So if someone's listening and they're interested to work with Conyfer, they will be prompted to go to our website and fill out a form, just a normal application form. And the reason we have this application form is because we are an invite-based distribution platform. That's also why you don't see us marketing a lot about ourselves. And by invite-based, it means that we handpick the artist we want to work with. And therefore, we work with partners like yourself. So in the referral form at the end, you can mention if you were referred by someone we either worked with or one of our partners. And in this case, it's Music Valley. In fact, the code is Music Valley. So just put Music Valley. And once you put that, we will get the application and we will see that you've mentioned Music Valley. So the first point of contact would be to let Steve know, hey, we've got this person who wanted to work with us. And once we verify that, that's our first verification process because anyone can put Music Valley. So once we've done that verification, we will then arrange a time to speak with you personally. It could be me who speaks to you or Ash or someone in our team. And we don't have a big team. We're a team of 10 people. So it will be one of us, not the marketing people, talking to you and understanding what your goal is. Do you have an album ready to go, or do you have a single, or maybe you're just thinking of learning about what a distribution platform looks like, or maybe you are moving a catalog to us. if it is moving a catalog, although it is, I would say, and I am biased at this, that it is straightforward, obviously, because I've used it multiple times. But it gets straightforward once you start using it multiple times. But if you feel overwhelmed, and I've noticed this in artists, they're very good at making art, but quite feel a bit overwhelmed when it comes to admin-y type of things, which I completely understand. It's fine. We can help you walk through your first upload on the platform so you don't make errors. And the reason it is asking you too many questions about who you collaborated with, who your producer is, what is your genre of music, is not to overwhelm you, but so we can actually catalog your song in the right part of the platform that we're releasing in, because the back end of how Spotify or Apple or any music distribution platform, DSP, looks like, digital streaming platform looks like, is they have a little flag for every type of music, and they will put it with other kinds of music. So if your song is pop, it will often play after another famous pop song if it's flagged or catalogued properly.
Right.
So that's why it's asking those questions.
Yep.
And we want to make sure that your account is connected with your real Spotify account or Apple account, so that your music doesn't be placed in somebody else's profile that has a similar name to yours.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, we'll walk you through that process if that's what you're interested in. If it's not the case, then really it's trying to understand you as an artist. And because we are locally based in Melbourne, if you prefer to not have email conversations and, hey, want to meet up for a cup of coffee and have a chat, we're open to do that. Actually, we prefer that than email.
Wow.
I hate email.
That's pretty special these days, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's just, you know, Steve, I hate communicate. And also, I'm a bit of an anxious person. This is where I relate with an artist as well.
Yeah.
As much as I like chatting because I know you. So I'm like, oh, I'm just having a chat with Steve here. But it's awful and awkward to talk to some random person, no matter how kind they sound on a podcast, via email, telling about your most personal information. Right.
We're in a personal industry.
You're asking them to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
With a stranger.
So you need to build that trust, and you need to be part of someone who understands, who you are and what your needs are, and that can't be communicated through an email or a text.
And you don't want to have that thought in your head of, who knows if I'm emailing a real person or a bot. So
I guess that's the ultimate valid verification. It's face to face, isn't it?
Yeah, like, hey,
you're not AI.
Touch me, pinch me, I'm human.
Oh, how long have you real? Actually, are you a bot?
No.
Are you a robot?
No, I wouldn't be making this many awkward jokes if I was. But so yeah, if you're local in Melbourne, open for a cup of coffee, let's have a chat. Let's get to know each other so you can actually trust me and trust what I am saying. Not that you should trust everyone you meet, but at least you have a point of contact, a face to the voice and a face to the platform that you're using. And once you're using, if you have any questions, you'll know, hey, it's Shayini that I had a coffee with, and maybe I should text her. I don't know what the heck is going on. Like, why is my release not out? Why is it showing?
So you're saying people can actually text your mobile?
Yes, text me.
I just want to repeat that. People can actually text your
me.
Mobile.
You have my number.
And this is, again, one of the things that really impressed me. I think we reached out. We've had a chat on LinkedIn years ago. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, it's exactly what I would have built had I, extended and trying to create another department at Music Valley. It's having a real team to help navigate through the process of distribution and online monetization. So that's exciting. Yeah. And I think, look, a lot of our artists are really, it's really just hard for them to get started. Yeah. And so for anyone listening, they're like, I'm not sure. It seems to be going well. I'm paying my $20 or $40 a year on DistroKid. Not sure what's going to happen. Have a conversation with us. There'll be a link on the show notes to book a call with us, or just apply through Conyfer. We'll have a chat. We'll have a coffee. Maybe we can bring them into the studio. We'll catch up. And let's talk about the next step and really demystify this whole process, because that's really the thing that's holding a lot of artists back. We've spoken to a lot of artists. I mean, the few that we've already spoken with have got some incredible songs. supported big acts like the last guy. I think it supported Deep Purple on their last tour, and just had no clue.
Yeah.
They're just again, they're old school as well.
Yeah.
Don't know how to use tech.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where that conversation's at, but it's just like these are the technical barriers that artists and the world are still facing.
Yeah.
Even if you're, in the Gen Z or millennial category, I think it's still hard to navigate because there's so much information out there, and the only way to kind of penetrate through that and navigate to get your actual, the results that you need is just through that conversation.
Yeah. And I think one other thing that I wanted to point out, like I remembered when you mentioned we at Conyfer, you don't have to pay a monthly subscription fee or pay high revenue shares. Like for those who have used different types of platforms, you would know that sometimes it's a subscription model. So you have to pay I don't know now, but $10, $20 for additional services that comes with it. If you want to have a coffee with me, you got to pay $100 a month.
Right.
No, there's no such thing. And there's no hidden fees as well. Actually, one of the common questions that we get at Conyfer is, you say 10% on your website, but surely because you provide all this tech, there must be some hidden fees.
Right.
How do we know that this is what we're getting from the streaming? Well, mate, if you don't know, I don't know either, because you have access to your own dashboard,
Right.
and you will see exactly where your streams are coming from. And I think that's one of the special features at Conyfer that even you have told me. Because, and most artists have, is usually you distribute, you don't really, I think recently now most distribution platforms tend to have a dashboard where people can see where the streams are coming from. But I would argue that it's not as detailed as the one that Conyfer offers, because not only does it show where your streams are coming from, it also shows how much money you've made in each of those platforms. Say, for example, if it's YouTube, it's not just going to put all your revenues within YouTube in an umbrella term.
Right.
It shows YouTube Shorts,
Right.
or Spotify, Amazon, Apple, whatever, or any other local DSP that you're into. And it shows how much money you're making in each of those platforms. So you're not blindly promoting your music. If your music, nobody is using Boomplay to play your music, why would you spend money on marketing it in Boomplay? Instead, focus on what's going for you. If it's YouTube Shorts, clearly there's some visual appeal that your music or your video has. So push that on Instagram, push that basically Meta, and do marketing that is specific.
And this is something you also offer as part of the service as well.
Yes.
So in addition to the distribution, which is
Yes.
the first step, there's the marketing, there's the ad spend, there's the promo on
Yes.
Facebook, and this opens up into a whole array of services.
We do offer marketing as well, and we don't push it on our artists because some people don't want to do marketing, and that's perfectly fine. And that's why this data is available to anyone using Conyfer. It's not just for those who chose to do marketing with us. It's if you're an artist and you upload, you'll see this data.
Just to make that clear, because marketing is a very big term, and I know a lot of artists, just to demystify this, we're talking about professional paid marketing.
Yes.
So when you put in money to an account through Meta or through, one of the streaming platforms, they can not boost,
Yes.
but they can get that into more accounts.
Yes.
And you set the parameters of which accounts and how that works. And there's a whole dashboard. So this is, if anyone's used to using Meta ads, it's a similar feature across all the different platforms. And that's the type of professional marketing we're talking about.
Yes.
And then being able to read what's working and being able to go,
What's not working.
And what's not working. So if YouTube Shorts are getting a return on our investment, then we obviously, can make strategic decisions about investing more in YouTube Shorts.
Exactly. And this is all, so all this data that you see and this access to the dashboard comes with no hidden fee. So we're not charging you extra for showing you your own dashboard. That's ridiculous.
You're saying that this is a unique feature that Conyfer has and no other distributor has?
No.
Great. All right, so this is a really important point.
Yeah.
So those now listening, they're like, I want to try this. Can they just trial it and give it a go?
Yeah.
And providing they apply and that, we have a coffee and a chat.
Yeah.
They're like, good to go. We can sort of trial them on their first release or the second or third or one of their songs switch over.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Because a point to make here is we don't sort of tie you in with a contract.
So there's no contract as
No,
well?
there's no contracts. I think contracts are expensive also for us as a business. You got to get a lawyer involved and then deal with whatever comes. We don't want all that drama. Look, I'm here for a cup of coffee, have a chat with you, put your music.
Right.
If you like us, you stay with us. If you don't like us, don't think that we are vibing. Fine, find someone that suits your needs, because everyone has special needs that is unique to you, and I respect that. And I respect your time. I don't have any need in tying you down to this specific platform just because it's ours and just telling you to stick with us when you may have better opportunities out there. So my whole goal, mine and Ash's, is to empower the artist. And empowering comes with no ties in Conyfer. So you can come and you can distribute one single. See how it works. Look at our dashboard. See if you like it, don't like it. Bloody hell, don't have a single, no worries. We'll give you access. Log in, check us out. See, I mean, without a release, you won't have any data. That's obvious. But if you want to see data, then you have to put at least one song. Yep. See if you like it. If you like it, continue releasing with us. If you don't like it, if you prefer some other platform, feel free to go. You are not going to get charged for leaving. And if you want to take down a release that you put on, there's no fees for it. I mean, it doesn't cost us to do anything. Why are we charging you to do that? So we'll take it down for you. We'll give you the data that you need so that you can upload it elsewhere. And
so
good luck.
What is the catch? Because I'm listening to all this and I'm like, well, how do you guys make money?
Well, we make money because we take 10% from an artist overall revenue. So if you make $10, we will make $1 for all of these services that we provide. And money, because we own the tech, it's not expensive for us to run the business.
Right.
What is expensive for us is this time that we give for the artist. It's expensive for us to, and expensive, often people associate that with financial expenses. But time, I value my time a lot. If I've spent half an hour speaking to you about your release, that's half an hour I could have slept in. Or
spent with another artist.
Exactly,
that halfway through
that had something to do.
Yeah.
So I invest my time and I will invest my money in you. And it's up to you then to do whatever you wish to do with that. If you don't see value in us, then I'd rather move on to someone else who has a need. So this whole thing started to help artists, and it's not to make actual money from, like, this is not the priority.
And getting anyone with a half-baked release on their platform.
No, the thing is, Steve, it's more expensive to do that.
Yeah. Well, Spotify didn't make a profit. I'm not sure they still are. Maybe through podcasting, but they didn't make a profit for the first 10, 15 years. I'm not sure how long they've been going for. So it's a lost leader, what they call in the industry, but they're playing a much longer game, and they've also got, rounds of different capital and ingestions to get it to a point. Like Amazon. It's 10 years they didn't make profit, 15 years, but they're playing a long game, and that's the digital tech kind of legacy world, and we're not that.
No.
So we're really saying that this is a win-win scenario for an artist. But you're taking that first step. You guys have built the platform, have spent a lot of time, money, resources building the networks. You've got, I don't know how many hundreds, thousands of artists using the platform at the moment, all around the world, and you're happy with this community that you have because everyone's coming by choice.
Yes.
And they can leave by choice.
Yes.
So it doesn't create any unnecessary costs.
No.
And
I guess the catch is you got to be serious. You can't be like, don't come here to waste anyone's time and it's not just my time. It's like a team. There's a whole team.
I can see those coming about 10 miles away these days. We obviously we want to work with people who are serious about it. At least giving this a proper go and giving it a shot, because if you're going to invest time, I'm going to invest time, then we want to make sure that comes back as well. And even that time might be a month of just seeing if it works.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And I think also, if you had to put it as a catch, it's also we don't take you seriously if all you care about is playlisting and stream numbers, because clearly you don't understand half of what it is to be an artist. Of course that matters. I'm not saying that doesn't matter.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well, I look forward to having, going deeper into a lot of these different points. And we did discuss we're going to be having you back on the show
Yes.
soon to address some of the issues as they come up.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming into Music
Thank
Valley
you,
Studios, into
Steve.
Inside Music Valley.
Yes.
And thanks to Ash for coming back, and looking forward to seeing you next time. And for those of you, one more time, listening, just if you're inkling and you're like, I just don't know where to start. I want to know more. I want to demo. I want to learn more about getting my music on, on a platform like Conyfer, or distributing and having better marketing systems. Just book a call with us, and we'll get you in contact, or go and apply on the conyfer.com website. You'll see an application form if they scroll right down the bottom. We can share this on the video, and you'll see a section there which has a section to advise on who referred you. So if you just type in Music Valley as part of that code, you'll get prioritized, top of the emails, and we'll contact you or have a coffee and a chat.
Yep, but we might get a text message from us. So
Text? Oh, we might get a text as well.
Yeah. Let's work together quickly and not waste time on admin. That's my motto.
Love it. Thank you so much, Shayini.
No worries. Thanks, Steve.
Thanks for tuning in. If today's conversation sparks something in you, drop a review or send this to a person in the industry who you think needs to hear it. And if you're someone who's done playing small and ready to take your music or career to the next level, we'd love to talk. There's a link in the show notes to book a call with us. Let's explore how we can help you plan your next move and reach your goals faster. But most importantly, if you're listening to this right now, I want you to know I hear you, I see you, I appreciate you, and my team and I believe in you. With the right environment and the right team in your corner, anything is possible. I can't wait to see you again inside the valley.